All right, looks like I am live right now. Um, cool. Let me get some things shared here real quick, and then we will bring Eric into the video. So let's see. Copy my broadcast. There it is. Facebook takes a minute here to use this service to stream it directly to it. So just like in a conversation, there's a little bit of a delay, but not too bad. So it took just a minute here for it to come up on the page. But I think we are about ready to rock. And let's throw that up on SME also. I think they'll have to approve it, so I don't know if it'll actually go live on their page right away, but that's okay. Magicians are very guarded when it comes to their secrets, as well as what we talk about and who we talk with and stuff like that. But fortunately, I am excited to have the creator of so many magic tricks right here to talk about. As you guys know, I've kind of been bragging about it here the last couple days that magician Eric Jones is going to be joining me live right here on the Facebook page. And I am excited because I have a few of his props, his routines, his tricks and stuff that he's released over the years. And it's somebody that I've been following for quite a while, even when I was just getting into magic. So I'm excited to have him here. We're going to ask him a few questions, have a fun little chat. And yeah, so let's kind of bring him in now and see where this is going to go. So let's Eric in here. Eric, how we doing, buddy?
Yeah. Hey, Travis, how are you, man? Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks to you. Thank you so much for joining me here. I appreciate your time and all these good things here that we're going to talk about. And, first thing here, I want to, respect the time that you're giving here. I don't want to keep you too long. But I have to say, I've been following you for a very long time, all the things that you've released, all the point stuff that you did early on. And, I kind of just want to know what happened, man. Like right away, you blew up like so fast. You were on Wizard Wars, you were on Fool Us, you were on, America's Got Talent, and it seemed like it all happened so fast for you. I've never seen anybody do that.
I've got to be honest with you. They say it takes 20 years to be an overnight success. I got started in magic back in 1999, 2000, and was, had very humble beginnings. I think Wizard Wars was 2015.
That sounds right. I mean, time's gone by so fast, but yeah, I mean, it's still relevant. It's great.
And then Penn and Teller, Penn and Teller, Fool Us was, so Fool Us was in 2015.
Okay.
Which means that Wizard Wars probably happened in 2012.
Okay.
So it's a pretty long span of time since my first U.S. television appearance. But I can understand how it feels like it was all pretty close together and pretty quick. But no, it's been 8 years.
Yeah.
It's a long time. It's been 2.5 years since America's Got Talent, 2017.
Yeah. I think for magicians, though, like whenever they see somebody succeed, and especially somebody as reputable as you are in the magic Magic community, you instantly become somebody to follow right away. And I think with all your social media platforms and stuff like that, you've stayed relevant. It's been awesome to see. So,
Well, thank you so much. I work hard to try to stay relevant as much as I can. I just turned 39 last week. Of course, to your older viewers, that doesn't sound like much, but I
right.
feel like an old fart, man. I feel
I'm with
like
you,
I'm
dude. I'm like
70.
35, and I'm like, that's crazy. I actually looked up
So,
your bio to see how old you are because I wasn't sure. I'm like, okay, I got like 4 more years. I'm gonna be there.
I've been really blessed. I've got a lot of people around me who believe in what I do, and I've got people who try to keep me healthy, so that I can last as long as I can. I've got a son that I've got to live for, to provide for as long as I can. So that's kind of the name of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. I remember seeing some of your first videos with your son and some of the things you had done, teaching him or showing him magic tricks, reactions, and stuff like that. And so, I mean, that's
Yeah,
just awesome to see because, I mean, everybody wants to perform, and it sounds cliche because for their love of magic and the passion of being able to give somebody else the experience of magic, and that's not the tricks, it's literally the experience.
I
But seeing
agree,
that in your own
100%.
child, like it's crazy to be able to do that for your own child. Like magic becomes something brand new for you at that point.
It really does. It really does. People always ask me if I show my son Cameron any magic, and the truth of the matter is, I hardly ever do. And the reason why is because he's young. He's at a point in his life where he hasn't learned enough about the world to know that he has limitations. He's not
Yeah,
limitless. I remember he ended up breaking his arm, jumped off the top of the stairs, 10 stairs down, broke his arm because he was trying to fly. He
yeah.
learned that day that he has limitations. But also, I remember, walking with him hand in hand into the first time he ever went into a shopping mall, the first time he ever experienced an elevator. We're
Okay.
walking through the mall. He's looking around. We're holding hands. We push a button, and these doors open. He's like, "What the heck is this?" We walk into this little box. I pick him up and I say, "Son, push that button." He pushes the button. The room starts moving, and he grabs my leg. And then when the doors finally open, he sees a whole new world, and you can see the moment of astonishment on his face. So I
Right.
remember deciding back then that I was going to wait until he's a jaded teenager, and then I'll share some magic with him.
Right. No, that is awesome. And I mean, honestly, that concept works. I mean, everybody should adopt that concept because, like, literally, magic is truly everywhere. Like, if you never experienced anything, you even don't understand how something works. I mean, that's
Exactly.
super cool. That's super cool. It's not, that's kind of what I tell everybody that comes into my shop here. I'm like, it's definitely not about the trick. Like, it's about the experience. Like, you have to get people to care what's happening. Um, and I think honestly, and it's weird to say this because I don't want to give away your secrets or anything like that, but you are a borderline a purist when it comes to magic. The things that you use or utilize, your audience never sees or has a clue of what's going on. So to them, everything you do is pretty pure to your audience, and that's what really matters.
Um, there was a time when I would agree with you.
Okay.
When I was releasing products regularly, it mostly was confined to just using my 10 fingers and dexterity, just sleight of hand, to create the illusion. I've evolved. I don't know
Uh-huh.
if I can say that's for my benefit or for the benefit of my audience.
Sure.
But as far as modus operandi, the actual techniques that I use and that I employ to create a magical atmosphere and actual magic for my audience, I
Yeah.
feel like I'll, like Malcolm X used to say, I'll do it by any means necessary.
Right. Right. Yeah. There's nothing
So
wrong with
I
using.
don't care what it is. So to an audience's standpoint, um, I feel like the effects are simple
Yeah.
enough that they can tell someone else what happened within 1 or 2 sentences, which is a really good thing for magic. But as far as the technique is concerned, I'm dirty. I'll do whatever I can.
Right. Yeah. 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 I get that. I mean, we're all a little dirty when it comes to magic, but it's fun, man. It's so fun.
It
I can
really is.
honestly say this is one of the things that I have never uh, had such a big passion about it compared to anything else. Like, I spent like 20 years, I was a skateboarder, all that different stuff, getting into Magic. I put it down for a short time and then I picked it up, and I mean, it's just, I can't get away from it. Like, I love it so much. And I love watching Magic. I love being fooled, and I mean, everything about it. It's great. It really is. So,
I'm a huge. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Please. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, that's all right. I was just gonna ask you. So, like, what got you into Magic? It's not a lot of time that you see a brother doing Magic, especially out of Philly. So that is super cool to see it, and I mean, I think that's kind of what sets you apart, because your style and everything about you. I mean, it stands out.
I'll tell you about the first time that I walked into a magic shop, because I'm not originally from Philadelphia. I've lived here for a few years, but I'm originally from Virginia. I was born just outside of Charlottesville, Virginia. Actually, I was born at MCV in Richmond, Virginia, but I grew up just outside of Charlottesville, Virginia, in an area called Buckingham County, which, incidentally, anyone who's seen Tiger King on Netflix, remember the guy with the ponytail, Bhagavan?
Okay.
Yeah. So he grew up right outside of, about 12 minutes away from where I used to live. There's an area called Yogaville, and Yogaville is this huge temple that's shaped like a lotus. And there's a Swami that runs it, and he lived with that Swami and owned a private zoo literally a mile and a half away from my house. My family would drive home, and it would be nothing to see them walking giraffes or elephants, or seeing peacocks, or leaning inside of the gate and seeing the elephants and the tigers and the lions that they had. But yeah, just small world. So I grew up in Virginia, and there was a magic shop in Richmond, Virginia, that I got my father to drive me to. And inside there was a little Asian guy who kind of looked like Mr. Miyagi. He had the long whiskers, the long beard that he would,
every magic shop should
whip. And his name is Hun Wu. He's still there. Divine Magic and Novelties in Richmond, Virginia. Look them up if you happen to be in the area. They are an amazing magic shop. Brick and mortars, as you know, they're on the decline, so we have to support them in any way we can. He started having a conversation with my father, and I let him know that I was interested in getting into magic, and he pulls out this little jar, and the jar has a single dime and a single penny. He takes them out, lets me examine them, puts them back in and starts shaking it up and asks me how much money is inside. And I say 11 cents. He says, "No, kids, you're not paying attention." He turns and shows me, and there are 2 dimes. He takes them out, shows them to me, puts them back in, starts shaking it up again, and says, "How much is in here?" I said, 20 cents. He says, "No, kids, you're not paying attention. There's 2 pennies. My mind is blown. He takes them out, shows it to me, puts them back in, shakes it up again. "How much was in here?" I say, 2 cents. He says, "No, kids, you're not paying attention. There's a dime and a penny." He takes them out, shows me. So it was he had a really interesting handling of the dime and penny that I had never seen. Of course, I had never seen magic at that point at all, so it blew me away. Right. I was broke college kid, so I had no way of buying the trick, and my father wasn't going to buy me anything. So I went home, and I put dimes and pennies in different combinations between my fingers, and I took an old jelly jar, and I came up with a way of, as I dropped them in, I was switching them in and out and covering it so that you couldn't see what was in there. So I came up with my very first sleight of hand magic, and this is in 1999, the summer of 1999, right after I graduated high school. So that was probably my earliest memory of magic, outside of owning, the Marshall Brodeen TV magic cards that my family got me from like Walmart, and watching World's Greatest Magic on TV.
Yeah. World's Greatest Magic. That was my inspiration there, man. Like, that's, as soon as I seen that, I was hooked. Like, so World's Greatest Magic and those TV magic cards. I mean, that's where it's at, man.
I think I lied to you. My earliest memory of magic, there are 2. I'll tell you about them really quickly. One is, I remember a magician that I became friends with when I was in elementary school. He came to our school and did a magic show. His name is David Graham. He's from Charlottesville, the Charlottesville area. And I remember a stupid canned joke. He was doing the linking rings, and he says, "Here, check it out. Can you find any holes in it?" And he does a thing where he reaches through the middle of the hole and hits the kid on the head. How about that one? And I remember groaning in elementary school at that. And then, do you remember Men in Black?
Yeah.
So they had a music video for Men in Black, and Will Smith ended up doing a version of the bat palm to produce a card that says MIB. It wasn't an actual bat palm, so it's okay if I show it here. But what they had him do is they had him hold the card like this,
Okay.
and had him open the hand like that.
Got you. Okay.
So I watched that video every single time that it came on for 3 or 4 months, and then my brother and I started doing that.
That's
because there was a moment in the song where he says, "Well, you think you saw but didn't see," or something like that.
Right. Yeah. No, I remember like
Men in Black
having that music video on repeat, man, with the little head bob and the turn.
Yeah, exactly.
I just had somebody comment here. This will be kind of cool for you, I think, from Brandon Aronson. Eric helped me a long time ago when I was just starting. Drove to Richmond a handful of times. So there you go, man. Reaching out to people.
Oh, wow.
So that's super cool.
Well, Brandon, thank you so much for chiming in.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's super cool. You just never know who's going to actually remember you and things like that. That's neat.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something. You've created, I don't even know how many tricks, routines, instruments out there, whatever, in Magic. What one would you say is your favorite? I know what my favorite is.
I don't think I have a personal favorite piece of magic that I've created. I judge it based on the reactions that they get from the audience.
Sure.
And I think of all the pieces of magic that I've created, that I do on a regular basis, I would have to say Impossible Coins Across is probably the most dynamic. It's the one that gets the best reactions from my audience, and I close my formal close-up show with that piece. I've been working on it the longest, that's for sure. It's still a work in progress. But I think that would be my audience's second favorite. Their favorite piece for my formal show, I have a handling of Gaetan Bloom's Flying Ring.
Okay.
Where you have a little purse with a chain in it. You hand that to a spectator. Then you borrow a ring. You make the ring vanish. Your hands are empty. And then the ring is attached to a chain inside of the bag that the audience member has been holding on to.
I actually just watched your Instagram video of you doing that on a basketball court.
Yeah, for 19,000 people, halftime show. I started just before this whole pandemic started. I was doing a lot of halftime shows, and it was fun while it lasted. But that's probably my audience's favorite because it's so impossible. And I've changed the handling around to make it work for me. Yeah.
If you guys are on Instagram, definitely follow Eric. This video right here, that's the one that I'm talking about. That one's super cool. What caught me is the way that you worded that is like she said yes. And I was like, what? And so I watched it and I was like, yeah, that's pretty slick. All right. So that's a really cool video.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So real quick, my favorite thing that you've ever produced right here, Twisted, man. I love that.
Yeah, I use that every single day. Every single day.
Yeah, that is great. It is absolutely fabulous. I use it quite a bit. Looks like my camera changed a little bit. Like background.
Yeah, we went a little wider. Yeah.
There we go. Let's bring that back. So yeah, I love that. That's one of my favorites. And then I actually love your metal series. That is phenomenal.
Oh wow! Thank you.
You could make a living off of those 3 videos now. Is that
4?
4. Oh, you released that other one. That's right. I forgot about that one.
So for those of you who don't know what the metal series is, I was commissioned by a company called Illusionist. Of course, the magicians in the room know what that is. But it's a series of videos that are intended to get the uninitiated prepared to learn magic with coins specifically. The first volume teaches you all of the necessary building blocks necessary to get involved. The second video teaches you intermediate to advanced sleight of hand with coins. The third volume teaches you magic with trick coins that you can find in a magic shop. And then the fourth volume teaches you magic that I've done on television with coins.
Very cool. Very cool.
So it ends up being a complete course.
Yeah, it's amazing. Admittedly, coins is one of the things I struggle with the most because I don't have the discipline for it. Like it's definitely something that you need to work on and, you know, have confidence with when you do it. And I'm so comfortable with cards. I feel like that's always like my safe zone, my safety net I fall back to.
Well, you know what I'll tell you is that it takes the human body 21 days to get acclimated to anything new, any change.
Okay.
If you practice for 21 days consistently, I guarantee you when you pick up a coin again, you're going to be a lot better than you were in the previous 21 days.
Okay, there you go. Words of wisdom.
In quarantine, I would tell you to give it a shot.
Yeah.
What else are we going to do?
Right, exactly. That's why you and I are here, man. What was the video you had released? It had the SpongeBob routines in it.
Oh, are you talking about an extension of me, the 3
An
DVD
extension
set?
of me, that's right, yeah. That SpongeBob routine, if anybody's looking for solid SpongeBob routines, like that's it. That is so good.
So you know what extension of me was a project that Cosmo of Cosmo Magic really believed in. He and I met several years ago, and he saw a lot of potential in me. At the time, I was a bigger guy. I was doing security in both nightclubs and at a shopping mall. I was also a manager of the late night shift at an IHOP, and I was doing 7 restaurants in my city.
Just hustling,
using
man.
all of those streams of income to make a living. And the material that was developed in an extension of me was magic that I was performing night in, night out, either at the nightclub where I can't speak, as a security guard, or for patrons in the restaurant where I was working, or patrons in the restaurants and the bars that I was performing in. Every single thing that was on those DVD sets was from my working repertoire at the time. And it was the catalyst for a lot of the routines that I'm doing nowadays. Like the very first incarnation of Impossible Coin to Cross is taught there. It looks completely different today than it did back in 2010. Actually, give me 2 seconds. I've got a copy right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're lucky, man. I wore pants today.
You didn't do the TV at-home TV news anchor thing.
Yeah, no, I didn't do that. So, yeah, I've got a copy of it right here. So this came out in, I want to say 2010.
I stumbled on it by
2009.
Okay.
2009.
Yeah, I was actually looking for, I think it was Twisted I was looking for, or maybe it's something else you had done, and I stumbled across that, and it kind of caught my eye. But that's super cool to know that it actually is like all your working stuff that you actually did. So, I mean, that explains.
You know, that's, I'll be honest with you, though, it's one of my few regrets. As much as that project put me on the map for magicians, like it made them aware of who I am.
Yeah.
I feel like I released that material far too soon and far too much. While these routines are all fleshed out, the things that I was doing for people that were getting great responses, I wish that I'd held on to the secrets a lot longer, because, you know, once you release it into the world, you know, it's yours now. It's not mine anymore. It's yours. It becomes your baby. It becomes something you do. And I've been in so many situations around the country and around the world where I'll walk into a restaurant that I've never been in before, but that has a working magician, and I'll go to do a magic trick, and they're like, "Oh, I've seen that before. I've never been here before, bro." And I was like, "Yeah, you're gonna do this, 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 and this." I'm like, "How do you know that?" And then find out that they're regulars, and the magician does the material, and he's done that trick before. It's countless. It happens almost every city that I go to. And, you know, it's a great thing for magic, but not necessarily great for the magician that created it. Yeah. So I wish I'd held on to some of my babies, like Flash Coins Relit. I love that. It's one of my favorite pieces back in the day to perform. But, you know, I walk into a restaurant, I dump those pieces of paper out. Oh yeah, flash paper. I'm like,
yeah. Admittedly, I've never performed that, but I've played with it and dabbled with the idea of using appearances like that. And it's definitely clean. Like it gets a great like visual. So yeah.
Well, you know what? With that, they say if I've seen further, it's only because I've stood on the shoulders of giants.
Sure.
You know, every piece of work that I've ever I claim any originality to is derivative. It's based on the work of people who've come before. And Flashcoins Relit, of course, the name implies relit. It's based on Chad Long's original. I hadn't seen anyone do anything like that prior to seeing Chad Long from his. I want to say it's from his cheesy lecture notes from years ago.
Okay.
And what I love about it was that initial appearance and the third appearance. I didn't like the one where he tossed it into the air and he goes into the purse.
Yeah.
But I corresponded back and forth with him on ways that I thought we could make that routine seem more magical. Because, you know, he's a comedy magician. And even though he's got some great magic moments, I felt like that routine had so much potential. And he shared a version of the routine with me that I don't think he's ever published that uses a 3-coin stack, like for cylinder and coins kind of thing. That's absolutely killer. I've used it a couple of times over the years. I haven't, you know, like put it out there because he never gave me permission to show it to magicians. But if we're going to talk about, you know, killer piece of magic, then I want to make sure that we go back and credit the original wherever possible. And Chad, shouts out to Chad Long if you happen to be watching.
Chad Long. You know, I had only discovered a Chad Long probably in like the last 4 years or something.
Oh, you're missing out, bro.
I know, like he's got good material. Like it's really good. Like his shows, like the little bits and pieces I've seen of his are really solid.
I tell you how I found out about Chad. The way I found out about Chad is I was doing a corporate event in North Carolina.
Okay.
And a young lady came up to me and she says, "Oh my God, I love magic. I love magic. I saw this one magician who can pull cards out of a wall." And that was Chad's go-to thing at one point. He would go up and he would literally pull a card out of a wall and it would look like it's literally coming out of the wall, a chosen card. And I was like, what? What do you mean pull a card out of the wall? And she's describing this thing to me and I'm like, that sounds amazing. And I started asking magicians about it. And they're like, oh yeah, you're talking about Chad. And they handed me a set of lecture notes. Actually, it was Denny Haney, as a matter of fact, who gave me my first set of lecture notes from Chad Long. And it started a love affair. Then I got the Lost Magic video that had all the good stuff on it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It has all the good stuff on it. Like the thing with the spaghetti.
Right. Yeah. He's
so
released so much of that stuff in his, I think it's his Penguin lecture. He put a lot of that out in.
And I love the fact that Penguin has the ingenuity to get artists, gives the artists an incentive to put all of their stuff out.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's too good to be out to the masses, man. It's too good. It's too good.
Yeah. That's his Penguin lecture is like your version of the extension of me. Like, don't put it out, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, he's had his time. He's been doing it. He's done it for 20, 25 years. He's lived.
Yeah.
Chad, you're allowed to die so that other people can do your stuff, man. Go ahead.
Just a couple more things for you, Eric. So I want to give you a little bit here. I mean, you told me where you started in magic, kind of like, you know, starting out your first magic shop, some of the things you created early on. I was going to ask you what your first working pieces were, but that's extension of me. So that's awesome to know that. So where are you going from here? Like, what is your plans? I know everybody's kind of on pause as far as performers, entertainers, but what's your ambitions? Where do you want to go next? And, any words of advice for other magicians, young or old out there?
Well, first I want to say thank you for giving me a platform to speak. I'm kind of what they call an extroverted introvert. I don't necessarily want to be the center of attention. When I'm performing, I turn it on, become an alpha type so that I can do an effective job. But I'm the kind of guy, I'm low key. I don't like a lot of attention. So this is very rare. And as you know, I said I was going to just limit it to 15 minutes because it's not my thing. But I do appreciate you making this nice and easy for me. So I'm happy to answer as many questions as you'd like. But for me, I had a goal.
Okay.
I was taking steps to accomplish those goals, and it was to pause. I've been traveling 200 plus days since 2010. Every single year, I'm on the road more than I'm home. And while I love what I do, I've loved every minute of it for every day, traveling as much as I do takes a toll on you in different ways. My health, took a toll. Relationships, my relationship with my son, all of those things, you know, they hurt. So what I wanted more than anything was to be able to sit in one place for an amount of time so that I could regroup. And then I got that blessing in the form of a pandemic.
Okay.
So for the past 8 weeks, I've had exactly what I needed because I've never taken a vacation my entire adult life.
Sure.
If I do something cool, it's because I've got work, and I'll bookend it with something cool at the beginning or the end, and work in the middle.
Yeah.
But I've never just said, okay, you know what? We're just going to take 3 days and go to the Bahamas. I've never done that my whole life. So this staycation has been absolutely amazing for me. I've been able to reflect and pivot a little bit, because my original goal was to see if I can get a residency in a city that has a high tourism, has a lot of tourism, so that I can maybe get on a television show to push people to that theater so that I can stay relevant while being in one location. Then again, the pandemic hit, so everyone needs to pivot and change the way that they're looking at their stream or streams of income, and reevaluate how they're going to earn a living. My biggest client prior to the pandemic was Disney.
Yeah.
Specifically, I was performing on Disney cruise ships. I've got a contract at this moment from September until March, from September 2020 until March. So I'd be on a cruise ship every other week for 6 months in a row. Don't know if that's going to happen.
Right.
As of right now, Disney has announced that they're not doing any cruises until June, and I think they've announced that they're not even going to open the parks until January.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that's a huge thing. So right now, StreamYard, Zoom, any tertiary sites that end up popping up that offer streaming services that are as good as Zoom and StreamYard are going to be the commonplace.
Yeah.
I can see the advent of more home performing, like people putting up backdrops and all of that, because the living room and a studio is going to be where magic performances are going to happen. The same thing for comedians, the same thing for a lot of other artisans, singers, painters. I know a guy who does speed painting who's now doing it for clients in Flower.
Okay.
And he's doing it business meetings like that on Zoom. So this is going to be the new normal for quite a while for most of us.
Yeah.
And to answer your question about the piece about advice, my advice is, especially during this pandemic, of course, you should have been doing it before, but diversify the type of friends that you have. Don't have friends that all do the exact same thing. It's cool to have friends that share your hobbies, but it's very valuable to have a circle of friends where everyone has something that they bring to the table that's different from everyone else. There's an old saying that your network is your net worth.
Okay. I like that.
So by having a bunch of people that you can collaborate with, that you can bounce ideas off, who bring something to the table different than what you have. For instance, I was on the phone with, I won't say his name, but he's a really good magician he lives in Calabasas, California. And he had the company that created the software technology that allowed porn sites to charge.
Okay.
So he's kind of a magician, but he's also a tech guy. And I had a conversation with him about finding a platform like StreamYard and Zoom that has all of the pros to both of those sites without any of the drawbacks. Like, if you don't know about StreamYard, you can only have like 7 or 8 people at one time sharing the screen. Right. But even on Zoom, you can't have this side-by-side conversation. Yeah. But you can have hundreds of people on their cam. So they both have pros, they both have cons. And I was trying to convince him to create or develop a third party that has all of those and sell it to a company like Live Nation. Yeah. Who I had a conversation with a couple of executives from Live Nation, and they were saying how through June, they have hundreds of live events planned and only sold 137 tickets for all of those. They have to shut all of those events down, and they're trying to pivot. They're trying to find a way that they can recoup some of their losses. And they're finding that these live things, someone needs to create that third-party application that allows hundreds of people to interact and engage with an audience, while at the same time having the same production value as a platform like StreamYard. So having people in your circle who do different things that you can collaborate with to create something new is paramount, especially in a crisis like we're experiencing now.
Yeah.
So make sure that you diversify. Your network is your net worth.
I like it, man. Matter of fact, I had just watched, I think it was Dropkick Murphys. They went on St. Patrick's Day. They did a live Facebook concert because they had a concert booked, and then that got canceled. So they're like, let's do it anyway. And I had that thing going for like over an hour. Like, it was great. The production quality was good. Like, I want to see more of that for sure. And I think people
it's coming. They will pay for it. They're going to have to pay for it because they're going to be bored in the house and in the house bored.
There you go. I want to go to a couple quick things here. One, this guy, Forrest Chapman, he said, "What's up, fellas?"
Hey, Forrest, I haven't heard from you in a while, man. I hope you and your family, your beautiful family, are okay. When everything opens back up, we need to hang out, bro.
Yeah, he's actually my connection to Philly. He's the one who got me out there. We did some filming and did some fun stuff like that. Introduced me to Dan and a couple other guys out there. So that was definitely a lot of fun. So I've got to know Forrest very well. But it's weird calling him Forrest now because I've always known him as Peter.
Yeah, Peter. Yeah, yeah. Well, I knew him as Forrest before there was Peter Pitchford. Yeah, and I had a hard time transitioning. So it's bittersweet that he's back to Forrest.
Yeah. I originally met him as Peter Pitchford, and then we did some PayPal transaction. I'm like, I got something from Forrest. Is that you? And I was like, okay, I see what's going on. So that took me a little bit too, because I was like, all right. And then one other person here. This is actually one of my students that I teach magic to. Looks like he's on my mom's account. His name is Ethan. He's actually got into magic a couple years before he met me, but the dude is phenomenal at what he does, and it impresses me just to see how outgoing and how much confidence he has. But he's just wondering what your favorite card trick is.
Oh, again, I'm not that conceited. I'm not that vain. I wouldn't say that I have a favorite.
Yeah.
My audience really seems to enjoy Twisted, the Ishkabibble sandwich.
Yeah.
And I've been playing around with a new thing. Which is I don't feel like, and this might be controversial, but I don't feel like any card at any number is magic.
Okay.
It's a coincidence.
Sure.
It might be improbable, but it's not a new and impossible moment. It's improbable. So I've been playing with a presentation that allows me to play up on how improbable it is as it leads into another piece. So I use it as something that is improbable. I'm not saying that it's magic, but this is impossible.
Okay.
And the handling is kind of cool, and it works. So I think, I guess I would have to say that if I'm gonna be vain, I would have to say that maybe that's my favorite piece, only because I'm enjoying the newness of the piece.
Sure. Okay.
Another thing that I'm having a lot of fun with now, Illusionist put out an app in conjunction with Craig Felicetti. I'm not going to say what it is, but it allows you to do some really cool mentalism, and it's very inexpensive.
Okay.
And the best part for me is that I can do it from here.
Yeah.
To you there.
See, and that's what we're going to need a lot of, man. We're going to need that type of material.
So it's been great for me.
So you opened up a question here I wasn't planning on asking. When it comes to apps, how do you feel about stuff like that? Because I know there's a lot of people that that's what they do. I personally was kind of on the fence with it. A lot of it I haven't found very reliable. Recently, I found one that I really like. I don't know if you're familiar with The Stranger. It's fairly new. I actually found it at Magic Live this last year, and that was really, really good. If you don't know what that is, I would look into that.
Nice.
But overall, what's your thoughts on app-based magic?
You know, the late great Eugene Berger had a saying. He says there are many rooms in the house of magic.
Yeah.
One of those rooms happens to be social media magic, which a lot of people have been fighting back, had been fighting back on until now.
Yes. Yes.
Now they see the value in it.
Yep.
But before they were beating it up. I feel the same thing is true of app-based magic.
Okay.
What we lack in our community is creativity.
I agree.
A lot of people will see the app, they'll see how it's presented, and rather than taking that bare bones technology and changing it into something that resonates not only with that artist, but with the audience that they're performing for,
Yeah.
they'll take it at face value based on what's been presented and make a decision as to whether or not they think it's going to be good for an audience or not. And that's very shallow. It's very one-sided.
Yeah.
I believe that, and I said it very early on in our talk, that I feel that as an artist, as a magician, I'm going to use whatever modus operandi I can to create an atmosphere of magic and an the moment of astonishment for an audience.
Yeah.
And if it takes an application on my phone or something on your phone to do that, I'm all about it. 100%.
Right. Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely. Well said. I appreciate that. And going back to like the social media magic thing, I've actually reached out to that person, who is the focus point of the negativity of social media magic, and I'm hoping to get him on here. I've met him one other time before, but yeah, it's the same exact thing.
Jabrizi?
Yeah. Yep.
Get his ass on here. I'll call him today.
Do it. I sent him a message. We usually talk quite a bit on Instagram, but I haven't. He hasn't seen it yet. So I want to talk to him about social media magic. I want to talk about where this is all going. I know he's kind of evolved a little bit. He's doing music, and since he changed his hair, man, that threw me off. I'm like, that was your brand, man. But no, like, I want to get Jabrizi on here because, I love the fact that, one, he was beat up so much about it because people didn't understand that you have to cater to your audience where they're at. But now, like, if he would just keep going to where he's at now, like he was pushing before, man, he would just be on top of the game. Like,
he was already on top of the game.
I know.
Now he's tired of that, and he wants to pivot and move forward and push himself as an artist, trying to be more and more famous. There's a lot of things that are trending within the magic community on social media. The biggest thing is everyone's trying to get their followers up. So one of the things that a lot of people are doing is they are looking at the people in their the list of people that they follow, and they're watching who's on live.
Yeah.
And then they'll join that live and say, hey, look, I do magic. Let me show you some magic. Get on live with that person. Get that person who has more followers than them to get their followers to come over and follow the magician. And it becomes a game of whose live can we get on. And you'll see it every single night. People finding people who have 1 million followers, 1,000,005 followers, 100,000 followers, and saying, hey, look, I do magic for them, and then ride that coattail. There's a lot of stuff like that are going on that's great for magic, not necessarily for individual magicians.
Right. Yeah. Because, I mean, admittedly, it's tough, man. There's so much, like, people out there that are getting, like, publicity and put in the spotlight that aren't really magicians. It's like, oh, we learned a trick, now we're going to put this on blast. And, that's great if they do it well, if people start to be like, oh, that's awesome, it's magic, I want to see some more of it. But at the same time, if they perform it poorly, or you have those people out there that are just blatantly exposing it, like, that's not good either. Like, it's so tough. And you'll always have those comments, like, I could perform a trick on here flawlessly, and somebody will comment, yep, know how you did that, this is this, you got it from there. And I'm like,
well, you can't listen to the trolls. You can't listen to the comments.
Right.
People are professional assholes sometimes. Excuse my language, but there are some professionals out there, and that's all they do is troll, and they get paid to troll. There are people who get paid to troll. Yeah. So I never focus on the negativity at any point. Gosh, I had something that I wanted to add to that, and then I cursed. And I was like, oh.
It's karma, man. It's karma just slapping you right there.
Yeah, I apologize.
No, that's quite all right. That's all right, man. So yeah, man, I think that's about it. I appreciate you being on here. I appreciate your time. I'm super jealous that you got to perform at Liberty Magic. That's a place I definitely want to check out, man. They did a presentation on that. I can't remember the guy who oversees that. He did a presentation at Magic Live and talked about it and hyped it up. And man, that place sounds awesome.
Oh, Scott Schiller. You know, he's the VP of artistic planning.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, I don't mean to plug anyone else's
No, plug away, man. That's
show
what you're here for.
On every Friday evening, if you go to Liberty Magic's Facebook page, they have a live stream at, I think it's 7 or 7:30.
Okay.
And they feature different magicians from around the world. Anna de Guzman and I were on the first show 2 weeks ago. Last week, our friend Chris Capehart was on, and I'm not sure who's on this week, but they have a famous magician on every week. And awesome. They do a little bit of magic. They talk about life, talk about what they're doing while in quarantine, and it's a show that happens every Friday. So if you follow Liberty Magic on Facebook, you'll see that YouTube stream.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be good to follow because, I mean, that's a place that I definitely want to check out. And it was amazing when he was talking about numbers, how like those magic show ticket sales were outselling almost everything else.
So I was the inaugural performer. I was the first performer at Liberty Magic. And they hired me for 8 weeks. I had no idea how the tickets were going to sell. I knew that I was going to make my money regardless because they, you know, that's the way we had it in the contract. Sure. But I knew that I'd also make more money if we hit 75% of the amount of tickets that needed to be sold. Anything above the 75%, I got a percentage of. Okay. So I had an incentive to push it on my social media and all of that stuff. We sold out of the entire 8-week run, week 2.
That is awesome.
And that actually encouraged them to hire me later on in the year, in the fall, to do another 6 weeks. Okay. Because they had so many people who wanted to see the show the first 8 weeks that couldn't. So they hired me to do it another 6 weeks later. The venue is making money hand over fist. You know, I'm a huge fan of brick and mortar. I'm a huge fan of supporting live theater, especially when it comes to magic. But Liberty Magic does it right. They know how, they really know. I'm not saying that other venues don't, but they go above and beyond to treat the artist, both financially, as far as accommodations, as far as transportation, as far as perks. They offer it all with a compensation package that's higher than anything that's out there.
That's awesome.
They definitely make it worth it. But you know, at the same time, they're funded by the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust, so they've got a couple of dollars that they can throw at it.
Right. It was just so nice to hear that. You know, how many people were hungry for a magic show. I mean, South Street was there. That's not there anymore, correct?
No, South Street Magic, Seth closed that several years ago.
That's what I thought. And so, I mean, it was cool to see that and see that theater in there. But I think
we were talking about 2 different cities. So Pittsburgh's all the way on the east, Philly's all the way. Philly's on the east, Pittsburgh's on the west. So South Street Magic, the only magic venue that we have in Philadelphia at the moment is the Smoke and Mirrors Theater. Okay. That's run by Danny Archer. And that has, I think they're still doing small shows now with social distancing. Oh, I feel like I'm doing a Trump thing. But yeah, they are they're in Huntington Valley. So just a little bit outside of Philadelphia, and they have different magic shows every week of the year. And I think they're still doing private parties and things like that even now.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, I've got the other way, a little theater back there. Like I opened right at the whole COVID thing, so I haven't even done a show yet. But it's coming soon, so I'm excited.
So let me ask you this. I want to get a question off my chest and ask you something. Yeah. So you are the proprietor of a magic shop. Yeah. Let's say some situations where, and this is going to be a thing, and I don't know if you're preparing for it now or not, but I've experienced it, and I'm going to experience it when I get back on Disney cruise ships. You are not going to be able to touch another person for fear of passing COVID or any other infectious disease. So what are your top 5 pieces of interactive magic that do not require you to either bring someone on stage or to touch another human being or have them touch one of your props? Okay.
So fortunately, I'm a huge fan of Houdini, the history of all that stuff like that, you know, so I dabble in like the stunts side a little bit, you know, the sideshow stuff. So like the cups and balls would be good. I do needle
Hold on,
swallowing.
what was that? What was that first one?
Cups and balls.
Cups and balls, yeah. Okay, great.
Yep, so that's solid. A needle swallowing act. I believe I could probably do cardiographic because I think I could do card tricks if I just handed out currently sealed decks. You don't think so? Are you banning that?
Yeah, no, you can't. They can't touch anything of yours. You can't touch them or their or their person. Like so, the reason we'll come back to to get you to answer the question. What started this is I had to start going through Tarbell and a bunch of other places looking for pieces of magic where I can either bring a spectator on stage and I can't borrow anything from the audience. And the way that began, just before the pandemic ended, I got a call from Disney saying, Eric, variety acts are no longer able to borrow any personal effects from spectators. You can't borrow their glasses, can't borrow a ring, can't borrow their money, not their cell phone, a shoe, nothing. And the reason is because the magician was doing a trick where he had a ring. I won't say the name of the trick, but he had a ring. Then he borrowed 2 other wedding rings from 2 ladies in the audience, and he linked the rings together. Yeah. I don't want to say the name of the ring because I don't know if we have laymen watching.
Sure.
Then he takes the rings off, shows that they're all separate again, and gives the wrong ring to the wrong lady. She goes to put the ring on her finger, looks down, realizes it's not her ring, and can't get it off.
Oh.
They end up having to cut this $15,000 ring off this lady's finger, and Disney says, nope, nope,
wow.
Nope, no more of that, no more of that, no more borrowing anything from the audience. And then not only that, I'm on one of the last cruises that sailed before the pandemic hit. And even as it was beginning to hit, as we got our first case in America, Disney was going over the top with their sanitation to make sure that no one on the ship caught it or had it. They started saying, you know what, Eric? I think you should start thinking about not bringing people on stage. And I also think you should think about not letting them touch your props, because we don't want the exposure of someone saying that the magician gave me COVID.
Right.
Which is fair. Yeah. But going forward, just not with Disney, but everywhere in the world, it's a consideration that we're going to have to think of. And handing someone a pair of gloves in order to do a magic trick is not going to make them want to participate in a magic trick. Right. So going back to answer your question, getting you to answer your question, what are your top 5? You've given me 2.
Okay. So I think I would still do cardio. But
you can definitely do it. Just force the card.
Yep. So I'd still do that. To go along with that, the app-based thing that I talked about earlier, I'd do that one. And I would need probably either, to throw them together. I could, depending on my audience, I could either do like a Misers or Professor's Nightmare or something like that.
Okay. Yeah. Both of those work. Great.
Yep.
Yeah. So. I think everyone, regardless of what their hustle was, there are very few truly recession-proof businesses, need-based, elastic businesses. Yeah. So everyone who isn't essential in that way has to find a new way to monetize their passion and or create a living for themselves. So I'm going to be doing magic until I die. This is not what I do, it's who I am. So I just have to pivot to find ways to look. Here's my issue with the idea of not having people touch. How can we be legitimate? How can we be legitimized? Right. If I don't let you see that the cards are different, you have to take my word for it, and then that negates the entire possibility of it being fair. Right. So I'm still struggling with that. That old school mentality. It's going to be considered old school to think like that pretty soon. Right. It's going to be antiquated. But I still struggle with that. Trying to figure out how do I do a card trick without them actually touching a card? How do I verify that the card is the only card like it in the deck? Just answering the question. Of course, I've come up with answers to those as I've been performing. Right. But, the first time you go to say, oh, I can't just spread these cards and you take one. You know, that's
Right.
a different thing now. So we've got to even people who've been doing this for 40 years now have to rethink everything that they do. There are going to be jokes that aren't going to fly anymore because now who's ever going to say, give me your clean hand? No, that joke.
Right.
Done.
Gregory Wilson's going to
Done.
struggle, man, because he's a touchy guy.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So there's a lot of that's going to happen, and I'm excited to see how it goes. But yeah.
All right, awesome. That's definitely really good food for thought. Now, Eric, I do want to applaud you or commend you because everything that I've watched of yours, everything that you've taught or everything you've put out, don't ruin the magic for me, whether you've known this or you research it before the video, but your knowledge base of history of magic is phenomenal. So I definitely respect the fact that you respect, your inspirations and all the pieces that you've put out. So you don't see a whole lot of people doing that. So unfortunately that you've shown your age a little bit, but no, it's good though, man. I need to see more people like that, giving credit where credit's due. So that's awesome because every time I've watched something of yours, admittedly there's somebody there that I've never heard of. So I'm like, oh, who's that guy? So then I go back and learn, and then it just opens up a whole new door that I didn't know about.
Well, I was very lucky growing up in my infancy in magic. The magic shop that I told you at the very beginning of the interview, Divine Magic Novelties in Richmond, Virginia. Wu, the proprietor of the magic shop, saw something in me, and he allowed me every Saturday to get behind the counter, learn the magic, so that I could then demonstrate the magic tricks behind the counter. So it was a kind of a what do you call it, a symbiotic relationship. I got to learn magic, and he got free child labor. So it was it was kind of a cool thing. But one of the benefits to that was that we would go to dinner every night, and there were five of us all together, but there were four guys who were with me. There was a guy named John Hitchcock, and John Hitchcock was one of Jeff McBride's early mentors. And he taught me about the ABCs of magic: assumption, belief, conviction, all of the theory-based pieces that allow magic to work aside from the technique. Yeah. Then there was a guy named Bud Smith. Bud Smith is still around. John's not. Bud Smith was a student of Slidini. So he taught me all about misdirection, as did another guy from Jersey named Bill Wish. And of course, hanging out with Rocco. So I got to learn a lot about Slidini. Then Hun Wu taught me about how to connect with people, how not to make it about the trick, how to make it about the human interaction, because that's where the real magic really happens. And then last but not least, there's John. Then there's the technician. He was probably, even today, I would say he's probably the best sleight of hand magician I've ever encountered in my entire life. His name was Woody Landers. And Woody Landers was a really short, 5'6", unassuming guy, heavy Virginia draw, who was a quick wit, had a lot of really funny and corny one-liners both, who would absolutely destroy you with coin and card magic. Absolutely destroy you. And every evening, they each gave me a lesson while we went to a Chinese buffet. And I would not have a sense of the history of magic if it wasn't for those gentlemen, because they would sit there and have conversations, not only about the piece of magic that we were discussing, but all of the magicians that they sessioned with. That, no, that's actually based on the Larry Jennings thing. But no, Larry got that from Ed Marlowe, but Ed Marlowe had a conversation with the professor about that. And I'm taking notes like, who is that again? And then I would go back and I would read the books in the magic shop, trying to understand who all of these people were. And I got to become very intimate with their respective works of art and their bodies of work because of that. So, it's like if you're a comedian, you study comedians. Right. If you're a musician, you study musicians. How are magicians not studying other magicians, not understanding what came before so they know where they're going? That is weird to me, that you're only focused on what you can find on YouTube or what you currently have in your skill set or what you currently have on your shelf. You have to go back and learn the history and understand
awesome. That is like that right there is the whole purpose of what I wanted this discussion to be, man. What you just gave me, that is like the biggest golden nugget that anybody can take out of this whole discussion, in my opinion.
Oh, wow. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, last thing for you, Eric, I believe we are done. Unless you have anything you want to add.
No, the only thing that I want to say is that if anyone is interested, I do offer tutelage. Let me rephrase. I offer both mentorships and magic lessons for those who are interested. You can reach out to me on the crawl. I'm noticing that you were nice enough to put all of my social media, my Snapchat, my Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitter. So you can reach out to me on any of those platforms or on my email at Eric@EricJonesMagic. And we can have a conversation about how I can offer magic lessons. And I hope maybe, Travis, you offer them in your studio as well.
I do, yes. Like I said, Ethan's one of them. I've done classes for quite a while, and I've had kids drive like 2 hours away from my classes, and it's amazing the support their parents are giving them. So to me, that's the magic part of it, to see that the parents are supporting kids to chase their passion a little bit. So
that's absolutely incredible, man.
That is awesome. So, Eric, you've released a product here called BioBender.
Oh, yeah, BioBender. Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah. So I actually have a couple of these here in my shop, and I love playing with them. So I'm actually going to be giving one of these away here sometime this week. So to thank you for spending some time with me. It's been a very long 15 minutes, but it's been a lot of fun. So all you guys have to do to get this is just follow Eric on any of his social media platforms, and then follow me here, so that way I can at least find you easier and shoot a comment. Let me know you've done that. Later on at the end of the week, I will pick a winner and give you guys one of these gems here that's Eric's released. So.
And Travis, I'm going to sweeten the pot.
Okay.
I released a set of lecture notes that haven't been distributed worldwide yet, called Never Satisfied. And what I'll do is, whoever your winner is, pick 3 more. So a total of 4 winners. And all 4 of those winners, I will send a PDF copy of my lecture notes to them.
Awesome. That is.
And all they have to do is follow me on social media and let you choose who that winner is.
Awesome. I appreciate that, Eric. That's super cool. So that's one of the reasons I was excited to have you on here, because you're one of the few, admittedly, I mean, you're borderline celebrity status, man. Like, you're there. I know you say no, but you're there, man. Don't give me that.
Look, bro, my rent is due the 1st of every month, just like everyone else's.
I know.
I'm just a guy trying to pay the bills.
I know, but you've got a status in the magic community and even on social media and stuff that most people don't, a presence that people want to follow. But you are still down to earth and communicating with your fans and stuff, which a lot of those people start to taper away from and don't do anymore. So I don't know how many thousands of followers you have on Instagram, but you took the time to respond to me. So thank you very much for that.
It's no problem. I don't have fans. I have friends.
There you go.
Yeah.
So. All right, Eric, I will end it here. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for the extended offer. Those giveaways and stuff. Stay safe out there, and I look forward to seeing some more of you on social media and doing your thing.
Heck yeah, same to you. And I hope everyone that's been watching, that you all and your families stay safe, wash your hands, practice that social distancing, make sure you wear a mask. It's not to protect you, it's to protect people from the germs that you have or may have. So let's do this together. We're in it together, as long as it takes to make sure that everyone stays safe. Thank you guys again.
All right. Thank you, Eric.
All right. Bye-bye.